Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy. I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you can be prepared to win the battle for business. That's right. Thanks for spending some of your time with me today. Thanks for being on board. And of course, a big thanks to our good friends and sponsors at Corbett Public Relations, where they've been promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. So do yourself a favor. Visit Bill and his team at CorbettPR.com. That's CorbettPR.com. Welcome aboard, everybody. Now, today I'm very excited to have back on the show a guest who's made my short list of favorite guests right here on the Profit Express. He is the Cake Don, Don Donnarumma. And listen, if you live here on Long Island, you know the Cake Don. He's basically gotten to the point of, dare I say, celebrity status. I'll get to that in a moment. Now, why am I having him back on? Because when I first had him on, it was October of 2021. So we were really just still reeling in what was the pandemic and COVID. Now, his story, which had a huge impression on me and a huge impact, was tremendous. He was in the occasion cakes business. So he was making these gorgeous, beautiful creations for weddings and bar mitzvahs. And what happened in March of 2020? The world shuts down. And when the world shuts down, that means we're not doing weddings. We're not going to events. So in one night, Don lost 35 orders for occasion cakes. Now, as I know Don, and I've been following him since the show, he's not just a business owner. I like to refer to him, I like to describe him as a Renaissance man. He's a business owner. He's a baker. He's an artist. He's an entrepreneur. He's a hustler. He's all of those things. So when you are an entrepreneur and a hustler and COVID comes and essentially puts you out of business overnight, what do? You've got to pivot. So that's exactly what Don did. And he started making cupcakes. He's like, I got to do something to keep the lights on. Well, his cupcakes took off. People were buying his cupcakes. They were sending them to clients. They were sending them to doctors and nurses and EMT and first responders. And word of mouth exploded. And then the local news channel here on Long Island, News 12, did a feature on him. And it spread like wildfire. And the rest is history. And I wanted to have Don back on because I've been following him, like I said, starting probably sometime in late 2021. And I've continued to follow him since. And he's grown exponentially since. He has a tremendous social media following. Like I said, he almost kind of, at least from where I sit, he's got like this celebrity kind of status. He's like this red carpet of cakes where you see him with his cakes with the owner of the New York Mets, Steve Cohen, with Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, this guy's rocking cakes. So I want to have him back. He's been a favorite guest of mine. And I want to see how in today's environment of 2023, how is Don winning the battle for business? So, Don, it's a pleasure to have you back on board. How are you today?
Tim, what am I supposed to do now after this introduction, man? What? How am I living up to this hype, brother?
Well, look, hey, that's on you, man. I set the table, but listen, I speak the truth.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you always. And that podcast we did, I go back and listen to it once in a while because it's interesting to hear the mindset and where we were. And it's crazy. It seems like it was 100 years ago, but it was a lifetime ago and it was 10 minutes ago. But I'm here. We came out the other side. We're all doing okay. So it's good to see you, man.
No, likewise. I mean, it was October 2021. But before we get into it, there's a lot more I want to talk about. I want to go back for the listeners who haven't heard the first interview, and it would be great for them to hear it and compare it to the one we're doing now. But you made a decision, you pivoted as an entrepreneur, and you started doing cupcakes. I want the listeners who didn't hear the first show, am I wrong in saying that the decision to make cupcakes kept you alive? Is that an exaggeration or is that accurate?
Oh, there's no question, man. So you were pretty close on that. We had 33 cakes that week. The week that everything got locked down, the restaurants, catering, we had 33 cakes. and we had 30 cancellations on Tuesday. So basically we went to zero instantly. And I'd like to say it was some great decision I made, but I don't even know why I did it. I don't know what it was. The same day, it was minutes later. I said, we gotta try and do something today. I don't think it's going to be a 2-week lockdown. I think it's going to be longer.
Right.
And I put an ad on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and I wrote $36 a dozen cupcakes, free delivery anywhere in Nassau and Suffolk. I really didn't care. I would go anywhere at that point. And it started to get some traction, man. People were locked in the house with their kids.
Yeah.
And they needed something. And we were going, and people weren't even answering their doors for us. You know, people were afraid. We were just leaving stuff on doorsteps. And and really, it just started to get some legs. And I have the greatest clientele, man. They're so supportive, and they just started ordering stuff, and they would send it to their friends, and then their friend would see it and go, let me send this to my family. And then it just started rolling. Like you said, News 12 did the story, then Newsday did the story, and then it was crazy what happened. And it's now I have a cupcake shop from that one day, that Tuesday, that first Tuesday with COVID lockdown. We made a decision, and it kept me in business. There's no way the catering halls and restaurants were gone. Nobody was ordering cakes for months and months.
Yeah. And listen, if you don't know the Cake Don, you got to see his stuff. I follow him on Instagram. He's a great follow on Instagram, by the way. Some of the creations, I mean, it's just works of art. I mean, you are an artist, by trade, beyond just being an entrepreneur, of course. All right, so you had the idea. It's the cupcakes, word of mouth. It saves you. I'm following you since, and again, I see your stuff on a regular basis. So here we are, and you're like on the red carpet of cakes, not just cupcakes, but cakes. So I see your cakes all over Citi Field and the New York Mets. I see your cakes with, Steve Cohen. How do you develop a relationship like that?
The Met story is a crazy story. I'm a lifelong Met fan, born and raised in Whitestone, Queens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'll give you the Cliff Note story of the Met cake, the first Met cake. So I came to work, and the girl who works for me said, Alex Cohen, the owner of the Mets, called herself and wants to order a cake for her husband, Steve, for opening day. So it's April 1st, mind you. Okay. And I go, oh yeah. Alex Cohen called here and she called herself and wants to order a cake. I'll go, yeah. I said, it's probably my friend's secretary or somebody's, somebody's trying to play a joke. And she said,
right.
It sounds legit, man. I think you should call. Here's the cell phone number. So I call Alex, and she picks up the phone, and I said, please don't be offended, Alex, but is this really you? Because it's April 1st, and she started laughing. And she said, no, it's me. I want to order a cake for opening day. I've been following you on Instagram, which I said, you follow me on Instagram? So I opened up her page, and it said following the Cake Don. I couldn't believe it. And she said, can you come to Citi Field tomorrow? I want to show you around. I want to show you where the cake is going to be. And we became friends, man. It's the craziest story. It's the craziest story. So Steve, I had done, fast forward, we become friendly. I start doing cakes for them. And Steve says to me, I had done a cake for Subway Series.
Yeah.
So it was a Yankee Met cake, and it was anti-Yankee. There was paint spilled on the Yankee side and stuff.
Yeah.
He said, if the Yankees call you to do the same cake but in reverse, would you make an anti-Met cake? And I said, there's not a chance. No. And he goes, no, he goes, really, would you make an anti-Met cake if the Yankees won it? I said, I'm a cake guy for like 10 years. I'm a Met fan my entire life. There's no way I'm making a Yankee cake. And he goes, that's bad business. And I said, yeah, that's why you're Steve Cohen and I'm the cake guy. I mean, of course it's bad business. I'm not a businessman.
Oh, now I'm all right. You're not Steve Cohen, okay? But you're not a bad businessman. Come on now.
I bleed Met blue, man, and I could not make an anti-Met Yankee cake. There'd be no way I could do it.
All right, so you grew up in Whitestone as a kid. You're a lifelong Mets fan. All right, we're gonna get off topic for just a moment. What the hell is going on with the season so far?
It's painful, man. It's painful when
I'm a
when you got guys mining, Tim, when you got guys mining your age pitching, it's gonna be a problem, bro.
I listen. I was very hopeful for Verlander won the Cy Young last year. I mean, right?
I get it. Okay, yeah, I got you. It's gonna be a rough. This is gonna be the way this year goes, and it was. You shouldn't. When Diaz blew the leg out.
Yeah. Oh, for that World Classic.
Yeah, but I'm loyal. I love going to the Met games. I watch every game.
Of course.
And it builds character, Tim. Being a Met fan builds character.
Listen, I'm a Met and a Jet fan. I don't know. Are you a Jet fan too?
No. Luckily, I'm a Giant fan.
Okay. All right. So you are smarter than me. We've established that. Okay. So, but hey, I've got Aaron Rodgers this year, so we'll see. Okay. So we're fast forwarding. We're talking the Cake Don. It's 2023. What has been one of the biggest positives that's happened in the development of your business since?
I got to tell you, man, the relationships I have with my customers, the clientele that I have really has been incredible for me.
Right.
They're ridiculously supportive, and I give all the credit to my social media because they walk into my shop and I don't have to tell them anything. They already know everything. They know the new cupcake flavors. They know the new cake. They've seen the cakes. They know the Met cake. People stop me at restaurants, talk about the Met cake, whatever, The relationship I've built on Long Island with my clientele, and now it's spreading. I'm doing a lot of stuff in Manhattan. I haven't been in this market for very long. The guys that I compete with here, all the big fish in the bakery business, they've been doing it 30 years, 40 years. I'm fairly new. I've been doing it for 7 years under the Cake Don. So I'm fairly new. And
yeah.
I just think that the relationship with the customers has been just as great for me as for them. Listen, they come in, and I'm here every day. I'm at the shop every day, and there's not too many places you could walk in to order something, and you sit with the boss and you get a consultation with the owner, and it's great. It might be a problem going forward in trying to scale this with other locations. Say I wanted to open in the Hamptons, and somebody came in, and if I'm not there, is it really the Cake Don anymore, or is it just another cake shop with my name on it? So right now, it's amazing. People come in, they want to talk to me, they want to order a cake from me, they want to sit and have that consultation. But going forward, it's going to be tricky to try and figure out how to scale without me being the one, being the face, being the one talking about the cake. So,
well, because
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the key word, to scale, because no matter how many cakes you sell in one location, you can only charge so much for a cake. Markets bear so much. And to really have, exponential growth, it's going to require another location. And, there's only one Cake Don.
Right. So that's how the cupcake business comes into play. This thing I can do anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can open a cupcake shop. I don't have to be there. The people, when they come in to get cupcakes, they don't need a consultation. They don't need to sit down. So, in my mind, the vision is like Annie Ann's Pretzels, or all these things that are in every mall, every airport, wherever you go, you see them. So to hopefully keep the cake business going, keep my clientele, do the specialty cakes, but really lean into the cupcakes, because I think that's where the ability to scale this thing is. Because I could go anywhere. I was down in Florida, and they were, my friends were like, if you open, I don't know, have you seen my shop here in Huntington?
Only online. I've not been there. No.
All right. So when you walk in, my Queens roots, I have the 7 train. It looks like it's running the shop. So the wall is the 7 train. And, it's a New York subway that I took as a kid. And it was very important in my years as a teenager and stuff. I learned more on that train than I did in private Catholic high school.
Right.
So my friends are like, if you open one of these in Miami with a New York subway in it, the line would be out the door all day long. So the opportunity to open these things anywhere is very possible, and I think that's where the ability to scale is going to be.
Are you thinking franchise model or just multiple locations?
No, I don't like the franchise model. I'm actually more attracted to the licensing agreement, where they come in.
Okay.
The big boy, whoever they are, they license the name, and they say, we're going to open, in the next 3 years, we're going to open 30 stores. We use your design, your recipe, your cupcakes. You're still the Cake Don. We just want to license the name. I think for me, that's a better play for me. I've seen some franchises where you sort of lose control of the product once, unless you're there on a regular basis. If they open a Cake Don cupcakes in, Nashville, really, how much control over it am I going to have?
Right. So now you've mentioned, when we first spoke, you mentioned the importance and how critical Facebook and of course now Instagram is to you. And, since we last spoke, I've been continuing to follow you, obviously. Your following has grown. And this, I think, is an interesting perspective for small business owners, because you and I have spoken about this offline. How much effort, and again, I'm not just saying this because you're a guest on the show, but your presence, especially on Instagram, you do a great job. It's fun. It's interesting. I love what you
Thanks,
post.
Man. Thank you.
How much effort and time do you put into this? Because that's the question every small business owner's got. Like, oh yeah, this Cake Don, he does a great job. But I'm not an artist. The guy is an artist. He's creative. He does cupcakes and cakes. I'm an accountant. I'm an attorney. What the heck do I know? How much effort do you put into this to make it look that good?
I got to tell you, Tim, at this point, it's really not a lot of effort. It's part of the job. It's in my job description, just like all the other things that are in my daily list of things to do for my job. If now still, after all this time, 2023, if your social media is not part of your job, you're doing yourself no favor. It has to be part of your job. It's got to be every day. You have to stay in people's face. They're going to lose interest. If they don't see something every day, all day, they're going to lose interest. You got to keep them interested. And I got to tell you, I appreciate you saying I'm interesting and I'm an artist, but I just think authenticity is the thing, man. I think people just getting on, being honest. I think that's the problem today. I don't know if you follow a lot of guys with these these foodie guys, they have food blogs, they have food pages. They go around to all these restaurants and they do the food. Do you follow a lot of guys that do that?
I don't follow those guys. No.
All right, so that's my world. So I follow all these guys, and
Yeah.
there are some who I love. There are some that their content is very entertaining and they're authentic, and you could tell when they're talking. There are others, you know, what they're telling you is only because they're being paid by the restaurant that they're going to. So why would I ever take a recommendation from a guy who I know is being paid to be there? I'm not going to go to that restaurant. I'm not going to listen to your review. I get it. You're making the money now. You're getting paid to show up. You have a decent amount of followers. But what else are you? Are you just going to do that? How long can you do that? How long can you do, a grilled cheese and you pull the cheese apart? You're like, oh, look at this grilled cheese. Look how, like, at some point you got to sit and look at me and go, that's the worst grilled cheese I've ever had. I really didn't like it. I need to hear some kind of realness. It can't always be, this is the best and you should get there. And I don't believe you. I don't believe it. So I think if you get on and you're real, listen, I have a real affinity for sad music, dark movies, poems, artwork. I like the stuff that leans towards, real gut emotional stuff.
Right.
I don't think any great piece of artwork or song was ever written when some guy was having the best sunny day and he was madly in love. And I think every great piece of artwork came from a gut-wrenching heartbreak storm that you were in the middle of.
Yeah.
And you created this thing. I think that's where a lot of the great work comes from. And I'm not afraid to get on my Instagram and let people know I'm not in the greatest mood. This is not the easiest. The life of an entrepreneur on Long Island, a business owner, it's not the easiest thing. And it's a struggle a lot of days. And I think when I got on and I was honest with that, I think people really dug that, man. They were like, wow, that's a really brave thing to say, that you're not happy all the time, you're struggling. But for me, that's my story, man. That's where I come from. I post about Anthony Bourdain a lot. Bourdain, for me, even before he passed away, Bourdain, when he was alive, for me, was the biggest influence on me as a business person. He was in the food world, but when he was sitting with people, he was interested in the people. The food was secondary. He was interested in the people, and he was never full of shit, man. That guy was as authentic as it comes. His message was real, and I was really influenced by him. His death really was affected me a lot, and I use him a lot in my art. I've done a bunch of paintings of him since, which now I've pivoted just from people saying they wanted. I sell my artwork now at my cake shop, so it's almost become this like cake / art studio where I'm selling my artwork off the wall. But I'm never gonna not be me, and I'm never gonna post something that I don't think is true to me. Nobody's gonna contact me and say, hey, we have these whatever product. We have these cups and we're going to give you this amount of money, but you just have to give us, 2 stories and a post and just telling people that you love it. And if I don't love the cup, I'm not going to do it. I'm not for sale that way.
I think, people have become, listen, they know authentic from not authentic. And, so you mentioned, just being authentic with who you are, what are your interests in sharing it? And then there's also that word, and I've struggled with it, and I've learned from you. I got to give you credit. I've personally learned from you. I'm not nearly as good as you at it, but I've incorporated it. It's about being okay, being vulnerable as a business owner. Because I knew when I grew up, especially when I started my business, it was all perceptions, reality, and image, and you had to have this certain perception, look great and look, intact and all that. But, that comes at a cost because you're not really being vulnerable and sharing who the real you is. That took me a while to learn personally, I got to be honest.
I look at it this way. When do you ever get together with a friend and you sit down for dinner and like a real friend that you're honest with, and you say, you walk away from the dinner and you both told each other, everything's amazing, everything's great, everything is, I wouldn't change anything. You never have that dinner. That dinner doesn't exist.
It's not real life,
right? Sit down
with
your friend. Yeah, you sit down and you go, God, man, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me over here. This is brutal. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're that way with your social media, with people you meet with, they know I'm not gonna lie to you. If you come in and, I deal with people all the time. I had a cake. A customer was not satisfied with the cake. I'm not going to spend an hour trying to explain why the cake is okay. What I get on the phone and I go, I need to keep you as a customer. You being not happy with it is not acceptable to me. How do I fix this right now? We don't need to go through. Tell me right now what I need to do to fix this for you.
Right.
And because I need to keep these people as customers. My customer acquisition for me, I was able to take these customers from all these other bakeries. I need to keep them now. And I think when you're honest on the phone and you go, you're right, that was not really what you were expecting. Let me fix it for you. Most of the time, they go, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. I'm not looking for anything in return. I appreciate the quick phone call, and I appreciate your honesty. When you call up and you start to make excuses, this is what you wanted, now they're going to ruin you. They're going to go on Yelp. They're going to go on Facebook.
Yeah.
Just be legit. Be honest. We're all just trying to keep our nose above water here. They're spending their money on a cake. You're providing a service. And I just try and be as honest as I can with these people. And I think they appreciate the honesty, especially on social media, man. And I know the people I love on social media, these are people that get on and they tell you when they're not having a good day, and they tell you when they have a great day, but it's not every day. Every day is not a win for anybody, unless you're Dwayne Johnson and you've been touched by the gods.
Oh man!
Even The Rock had a bad movie recently. His movie was terrible. So The Rock had a bad day.
Yeah. Listen, I did a show on this not too long ago on customer service, customer experience. And if you have, in my experience, and that's what my whole show is about, I just shared my own personal experiences. One was with the Volvo dealer, one was with the restaurant, and it was just such nonsense. And it was so disappointing. And if you have 10 experiences, it seems like, you'll have 4 bad ones, 3 okay ones, and maybe 1 or 2 good ones. It's just more, it seems today you're underwhelmed by what's out there. And so rarely that, like you just shared, somebody's not happy. What do I have to do to make you happy? Oh, wow. Wow. Isn't that a nice novel approach?
Yeah, they don't hear that anywhere.
You're right. They don't. And it's okay. Listen, you're going to make mistakes, but if you make it right, you know what? You're going to keep them. You're going to win them over. Now, all right. Let me take this approach. I described you as like kind of a Renaissance man earlier in the intro. And as I see you, artist, baker, entrepreneur, hustler. Out of those descriptions, which one of those do you identify most with, and which would you equate to being the reason why you're successful in business?
Yeah, this is a funny question. I just spent the weekend with a couple of good friends. We had this discussion. I don't think I'm there yet, Tim. I think all those things you just listed,
Mm-hmm.
the cakes, the art, the entrepreneur, I think they're all a conduit for me to something else that I don't even know yet. I just have this feeling
Really?
I'm on my way somewhere, and I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. I'm definitely not done yet. I mean, this is not it for me, but I am grateful for the gifts I've been given. It took me all these years to figure out how to use these artistic abilities, and I get to do it every day, and I'm doing
Right.
portraits for people now, but I don't think this is it. I think I'm on my way somewhere else. I just have that feeling, and I think that also makes my content a little interesting, because you never know what's it like tomorrow. Who knows what I'm gonna post? Really, I talk all the time. I don't know if you've ever seen any of my videos. I talk all the time about. I have this vision. I've had it for years. A big straw hat, puka shell necklace, board shorts, on my bicycle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm riding down the beach to the produce, and I'm waving to everybody, and for some reason that vision is pulling me. I don't know how I end up there. If I could figure out how to carve coconuts into Louis Vuitton handbags for people, I would be the coconut Don, and I would plant my ass on a beach somewhere. But I don't know where I'm going, man. I don't know where this thing's taking me. That, I think, is my lack of intelligence, which I just follow this thing as it goes. Most people will go the secure route. Most people are not changing careers at 42 years old with 2 young daughters, and they're just not going to do it.
So you're not fighting it. You're letting it take you.
I'm letting it take me where I want to go. So I'm turning 55 in July, right?
Stop. You don't, not that. You look fantastic.
Thanks, brother. Coming from you, I take that as a high compliment, but we're about the same age, right? You're a little younger than I am.
Yep.
So let's be honest, Tim. Let's be honest. How many good summers you got left? Good summers where Tim Healy could run his ass down the beach, dive in the ocean, get out, stretch, jog, go back to your blanket, do a couple push-ups. How many good summers you got left? So you got 20, you got 25, you got 30. How many you got? And that's being generous. You got 25 left. Maybe you got 2 left, Tim. Maybe you got 3 good summers left, and we don't know. So who am I to fight this thing? I'm going to fight it? No way, man. No way. I want to enjoy whatever summers I got left here. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to let this thing take me in a direction, and I trust my gut, man. I trust my gut. My gut lets me know this feels right. Do it. This does not feel right. And that comes with this age. We've been through so much stuff at this point. You kind of know. You go, I can smell this. Somebody walks in a room, you go, I know this guy. This guy's a used car salesman, and I know it, and I want no part of it.
Right. It's I don't know if I heard that, your relationship with age. I heard Jesse Itzler talk about that. The guy who wrote Living with the Seal.
Jesse Itzler, I love his content, man. He was talking about he sees his parents twice a year.
Yep.
Right? He sees his parents twice a year.
Yeah.
And he said, how many years are they going to be alive? Maybe 10. So he's going to see his parents 20 more times.
Yes.
In his life. I'm only going to see these people, the people I love the most,
right,
20 times. Yeah, it makes it real, man. That makes it real.
That one had a profound, like you talked about Anthony Bourdain having a profound impact on you and the influence he had on you. when I heard Itzla talk about that, and it's so amazing that you bring it up because you and I are like, we're on the same page on that one. That had a profound impact on my life. And I'm like, wow, how many more summers do you have? Hey, like we're both in good shape, right, for our age, and we're going out still having fun. But you just never know. Like, hey, I like to be bold and say, yeah, I got 30 more years. Who knows?
You don't know.
Yeah, but the relationship with time, that's an awesome perspective to share.
Yeah. So for me right now, listen, I appreciate beautiful I like things that are made well, that are beautifully designed. A Ferrari, a GMT Rolex. I see a beautiful Rolex, and I love that stuff, man. I really do. But for me right now, the time is the equity for me, man. The time is what the equity is. If the other stuff comes for me, that's beautiful. But I hear like, oh, let's go out to dinner with so-and-so. And I go, I don't even like that person. Like, you want me to invest 3 hours of my time with somebody I don't even like? I don't even have time for all the people I love.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to not only waste 3 hours. Now a dinner on Long Island, wherever you go, is $200. So you want me to waste $200, and you want me to sit and be phony to somebody I don't even really like. So for all the people listening out there, if I'm out to dinner with you, and we've been out to dinner recently, I love you, man, because I'm not doing dinners with people I don't enjoy anymore. So if we're sitting at a table, you don't have to wonder. I love you for real.
Listen, that's well said. All right, now, so let me. I'm gonna take another sharp turn here.
Go right ahead.
Because I respect how you do things, and so I'm having you back on, obviously. And how you market, how you branded yourself, and everything that you've done since we first, got together in 2021. I would love to get your take, because so much has been said, and I've actually had a show about it not too long ago, on businesses' choice, or businesses choosing to work with influencers. We had the whole Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. And, is it the right thing to do? Are they being genuine? Are they just jumping on a bandwagon? Because I know marketing is something that I say you're very good at. What's your take on that?
Listen, you got to be smart with whoever you're going to link, whatever influencer you're going to align yourself with. Mm-hmm. You're married to that person now becomes sort of part of your brand, part of your image. And you got to be really careful with what kind of face you want to put on your business. Right. And I think to make the decision, you better be sure that this is the way you want to go. Mm-hmm. And Bud Light, or whoever it is, and whoever they pick,
right? Yeah.
The telltale sign that Bud Light did not think it through, right or wrong, they bailed out on it in a minute. Mm-hmm. If you couldn't hang in there with your decision, it wasn't the right decision. They should have said, this is our stance. We stand with this person. We've done our due diligence. We thought about it. And this is it. This is who we are. But they folded so quick.
Yeah.
It showed it was probably not the right move.
Right.
People pick a face for the brand, and a lot of companies pick the right person, man, and that person becomes synonymous with the brand.
Yeah.
I think you have to be careful. A lot of the people on social media, the influencers, do they have another skill set, or are they just an influencer? And what's the shelf life of this influencer going to be for you? Is it going to be a quick hit, a one-off, or is this person going to be around a while? And you can basically tell, man, listen, if you have a product and you're based on Long Island and you get Teresa Caputo to be the face of your company, you know she's not going anywhere.
Right.
She's beloved on Long Island. They love her here. They love her everywhere. That's a smart move for you if you're a Long Island business. If you could have Teresa Caputo as the face of your brand, if you could have Billy Joel as the face of your motorcycle shop on Long Island, that's a smart move, man. Right. It's Billy Joel. He's synonymous with Long Island. But if you get some person who's from the West Coast who rides Japanese motorcycles his whole life, and you make him the face of a Long Island Harley Davidson shop, the Harley Davidson guys are going to go, what are you, out of your mind? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. It's like, you know, who are they beyond being an influencer? What other, you know, background skills or success do they have beyond, you know, just being able to ride that social media wave?
And who's giving the influencer cards out? Like, who says who's giving the card out? Like, so Tim, I have now on my Instagram, I have, I think, 54,000 followers.
Yep.
54,000 followers.
Yeah.
I get people approaching me to post stuff for them. Come to my restaurant, have a free meal. So I guess I'm an influencer, but I'm not interested. That's not, if I didn't have anything going on, I'd be very interested in being an influencer. But I'm really not interested unless things I love contact me. Like, you know, there are brands that I love and I've used for years. And if they contact me, I would be honored to be part of the brand. But
sure.
I did a divorce cake, right? It's a divorce cake.
Yep.
I didn't think anything of it. It was just a cool little cake. It was for a divorce. I don't know if you saw it. It had a ripped up marriage license and a trash can with the tuxedo in it. And, you know, it was a funny cake. The woman was having a divorce party. I posted the cake. It has on my reel on Instagram, it has 15.5 million views.
No.
15.5. I'm going to hold this thing up to the camera because everybody's going to say, you're lying. It has.
No, I believe you because I follow you, but 15 million. That's
look at. So I don't know if you could see. Where am I going here?
There you go. Oh, wait. To your right, to the camera. To the right, to the right.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Can you see it? It's the red heart. It says the red heart.
Okay, yeah, get a little closer.
Million.
Get a little closer. Hold on. Yeah. All right, we got it.
15.5 million. That's free. That's free advertising. 15.5 million. You know how many people?
Wait, is that your best reel? Is that your best reel?
That's the best reel. I mean, I can't even imagine I'm going to get anything even close to that ever again. I mean,
well, because I remember that before that, the Barbie cake, the puking in the toilet was one of your big ones, right?
Yeah, with 600,000 views.
Right. So this dwarfs it.
I was doing cartwheels. I was doing cartwheels. This thing's got 15.5 million views, right?
Holy crap!
That's Super Bowl numbers. Like, that's paying for a commercial on the finale of Friends. Like, you can't. I couldn't have planned that. And now imagine I didn't post that cake.
Okay, all right. So maybe you can't answer this question. So again, you know, you have a lot of your posts get good traffic, like you said. The other one got 600,000. I mean, 15.5 million is insane. Do you have any idea or any inkling as to how that reel exploded? Can you explain
Yeah,
that sort of
So
eyeballs?
the reason it exploded, I'll open it right now. So it's how many times it gets shared. It's how many people see it and go, oh, I got to show this to my friends. Like they want to send it. So to date, it has 379,000 shares.
Okay. Got it. Yep. That makes sense now. Wow.
And if you go through the comments are in every language you could imagine. Like I can't even read some of the the comments are all from all over the globe, like of this divorce cake. It's crazy. And then major pages started posting it, like the Shade Room shared it, and they have millions of followers. And then once that happened,
right, yeah, then it just explodes.
It went crazy.
Wow.
So people have told me, and people I really trust, guys who have really happening social media going on, they said, you need to make a divorce cake every week and just post it. You need to be the divorce cake guy. Like, lean into it. And I go, you're probably right. But it's got 15 and a half views. I didn't pay for any advertising on it. And
Jesus.
It's insane. And I got 55,000 followers now on Instagram.
All right. So listen, so the Profit Express, this is show, I think it's like 556. We got to do a Profit Express cake. Okay. And maybe,
I like that, man.
Look at this logo. There's a lot you could do with this mug and this logo. This goofy
that face
logo.
Was made for cake, man.
It was made. Yeah, it was. maybe I'll get you 20 million. Who knows? I'm feeling pretty good today.
So I got a question. For you, Tim.
Oh God! Wait, no, you're jumping in the seat now. What's going on? Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah. I got a question for you, bro. So we're a year and a half. How long ago did we do this? A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
What is the vision for Tim, the Profit Express? How's it changed, man? Where are you as compared to a year and a half ago? You've done all these shows now.
Yep.
Where are you now, my friend?
You know what's it's funny. So the show started as a radio show on WRHU Hofstra University. And it was on a radio show until COVID. Station shut down. I made the decision to go into a podcast, obviously where we are now. And I've been there since the beginning of 21, and I got into the studios, et cetera. So I had to make a number of changes. I had to learn some lessons. The whole video side of it was tough for me. But I'm not answering your question. What I enjoy most is I have an ability to have real conversations with some really interesting people. And that to me is a gift that I've, like having a conversation with somebody like you, with having a conversation with George Foreman, with having a conversation with Barbara Corcoran, right? These have been tremendous opportunities that I never thought I'd have. And here's my one regret. So now, man, you got me. You want vulnerable or what's the word I'm looking for, Don? Come on, what's the word? Not vulnerable. What's the word? I'm drawing a blank. We spoke about it. You're vulnerable, authentic, genuine. There you go. Sorry.
There you go. Your authentic self, man.
So, and you and I have talked about it, and I want to pick your brain. And shame on me, I haven't called you yet because we were going to sit down and have and break some bread on it. I'll be bold enough to say that the quality of interviews on the Profit Express can kick ass on a lot of freaking podcasts out there. Okay, but what burns my ass is I see interviews that suck in comparison to my show. You want honest and authentic? I'm giving it to you right now.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. And I've been on a bunch of podcasts. I find you to be a very interesting guy. I like your take on a lot of stuff. And other things that I don't think a lot of people pick up on, you have a very calm, confident cadence to your voice. When you speak, I don't ever wonder, is this guy making this shit up as he's going along? When you talk, no, for real.
Yeah.
That's a big compliment, man. When you're talking, you have there's a cadence in your voice. I don't know if that becomes from your professional life, speaking in front of people, but
yeah.
I listen to you talk, and I also will tell you, I would not be opposed to listening to a podcast with you that is not only business related. Like, I think your insight into a lot of stuff would be very interesting. And I think if you got a little more long form, man, I don't think people would shut you off. I think you're that interesting, and your voice, it has a very pleasant ring. Like, it's not uncomfortable to listen to. I've listened to a few podcasts recently with RFK. And
oh God,
I don't care where you lean politically. I don't care who you dig, but if this guy's voice didn't sound like that, I don't think there would be any stopping him. I think this condition he has with his voice, I think it's a big hindrance for him. It's hard to listen to in a long form interview.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Friend, you're like your voice is a very smooth voice. There's no erratic, I think that, and I think in long form, I think even in a longer form, I think people would stick with it, man. And I think you have an interesting take. And I'm not just saying that because you had me on a few times. I would not say anything at all. That's my honest opinion. Your voice is very pleasant, and an interesting take. You have an interesting take on stuff. So I'll listen to you, man. If you start talking about current events or whatever, I would listen as well.
Let me get back to the original question. Like, hey, Tim, a year and a half since we spoke, where are you with the Profit Express? And you say, hey, I'm being authentic and vulnerable. Here's one thing that hurts me. I'm being completely honest. When it's on radio, it's different. Podcasting is different because there's that social element, social media element. And I've learned a lot from you, but I'm just, and it hurts me. I'll be honest. It hurts me promoting the show because sometimes I feel to go out there and do what you do from the social media perspective, I just get tired of it. I'm like, I feel like I'm a trained monkey or a trained seal clapping for the camera. I'm like, this is bullshit. I get tired of it. It's like, here's my show. And I don't promote it the way I should. You want the honest to God's truth? That's it. And that's on me. But sometimes, and I have two people, I have assistants help me and this and that. And like, you got to do more reels. I'm like, oh shit, come on already. And that's on me. But that's where I fall short.
It's the truth. It's the truth. So I don't know. Do you know who Patrick Bet David is?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's got a great show.
All right. So he's got an amazing show. Patrick Bet David, who just recently became a minority shareholder with the New York Yankees, which is insanity. I mean, guy came from Iran.
Yep.
His family migrated. He sold his insurance company for $500 million. I mean, this is a success story on another level. But he does a podcast, right? He does an hour-long podcast. And out of that one podcast, he creates 5 1-minute highlights now that for the next 5 days, you get a reel a day just off that one podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe you watch that little quick hit, that 1 minute, and you go, oh man, I want to go watch that podcast. I don't think the real idea is a bad idea. I think you should be chopping these things up into little bitty pieces and putting them out there. And somebody might see you talking to George Foreman for 30 seconds and go, wow, I didn't even know George Foreman was on the show. Let me go watch that whole podcast or listen to it in the car or whatever.
You know what I'll brag about with the show, Don? Let me interrupt for a second. There's one word that I bring to my show that not a lot of hosts do. So I'm bragging, right? Is 2 words. I have a really good ability to listen, but I'm also curious. And because I'm curious, I typically ask different questions or better questions. I'm really genuinely curious, and I think that helps a lot in what I do.
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell, man. You could tell when you're having a conversation. You're not just listening, waiting to ask your next question. You're actually listening.
Yeah.
And your next question is based on the answer I gave.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not just okay. Question 1, question 2.
Yeah. It's not Late Night with Jimmy Fallon where it's unwatchable.
Those late night comedians and hosts, they suck. There's terrible, long gone are the days of Carson and Letterman and Leno. This current crop, they're horrible.
Well, guys like you, the long form podcast, they ruin these guys because you could go on and listen to Rogan for 3 hours.
Oh.
And every minute of it is interesting. That's why he's the most famous podcast on the planet.
He's revolutionized media. I mean, media he's off the charts. Listen, so now I know what you said earlier. Because of your relationship with time, you can't waste time having dinner with people that you don't like. But, you and I were supposed to have dinner. We didn't have dinner, so I'm calling you out on the show now. We got to have dinner.
Yeah, for
lunch,
sure. For
whatever.
Sure, brother.
All right, so let me
Listen,
do this.
I'm making you make me a deal right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure we'll sit and we'll do this again whenever.
Yep.
I need to be sitting between the ferns with you, man. I can't be this Zoom nonsense. I want to be in the studio with Tim Healy.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I think it would be a better conversation with me and you actually sitting in
side
person.
Side by side.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Brother. Maybe that's the conduit. We have a podcast. Me and Tim Healy end up.
Hey,
you never know.
Like you said, you're not fighting it. You're just going on the journey. You're letting it lead you. So, all right, I got one more. So here's one of the classics I always like to ask. So, and then we took this into a bit of a long form, man, and leave it to Don Donnarumma to do that. I mean, come on. So you've been doing this for a while now. And you've created a lot of success so far. What would be a do-over for Don?
In the cake world or in my life in general, Tim? I mean, this could go real long form, my friend.
You know what? I'm not going to guide the answer. A do-over. You tell me.
I got to tell you, man, I got to give you the answer, and you might think I'm lying. I think all the stuff I've been through, all these struggles and nights curled up in the fetal position, worried about, whatever I was worried about, business, family,
yeah.
I think it's led me to who I am today, and it's really the reason I'm going where I'm going. So on this day you're catching me right now, I don't think I'm changing anything. The only thing I would change, Tim, I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of me when I was younger and I was in a band. I had really long, thick hair. And if I could keep the hair, Tim, if I could keep that head of hair, I'd be man bunning my ass all over the place right now.
Oh, not a man bun. Not a man bun.
Oh, yeah, Tim.
Really?
I would be man bunning my Jason Momoa ass all over the planet right now.
Oh shit! Listen, I'm with you on the hair, man.
Look at us.
I know. Listen, I'm with you on the hair. I don't know if I do man. See, I don't see you rocking a man bun. I got to be honest.
Well, I would like the opportunity, man.
to have the opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what you said. Now I'm going to take it back. You said, hey, Tim, where I stand now, I don't think I would change anything because, all these trials and tribulations I've learned, I've grown. And I think it goes back to what you said earlier. You said, Tim, I like the art and the music that's kind of has a dark side. And you said, I don't think any great art has been created by an artist who had a great day, but an artist who's getting through maybe some tragedy or some sadness.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. Like you read you read the early Stephen King stuff. That cat was going through some stuff, man. That early work that he wrote, like you don't need to wonder. You don't need to wonder, is this guy having a great rainbow sunshine puppy day and writing Cujo after? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh, man. All right, so here we go. It's going to be a lunch and dinner. We got to get a Profit Express cake in here somewhere, okay?
All right.
And in studio between the ferns with me. And that would be an awesome show.
I'm in.
Don, the Cake Don himself, you become basically a celebrity here on Long Island with who you're rubbing elbows with in the cake world. Thank you so much for being on, man.
Don't tell my kids that, man. My kids hear that and they want to crawl under the table.
Come on, you're having cakes with Sebastian Maniscalco, Steve Cohen. I mean, it's awesome. Are you kidding me?
It is. Jesus. Listen, it's not a bad gig, brother. It's not a bad gig.
Dude, listen, thank you as always. Thanks for sharing some of your time, man. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, Tim, I appreciate you always, man. And anytime you want me to come on, you want to grab whatever, dinner, whatever, you know I'm available.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
And this is the Profit Express. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday to great shows like the one I just had with the Cake Don himself, so you can get the inspiration, the encouragement, the kick in the ass, whatever it is that you need, that we all need at one time or another, so we can all continue to win the battle for business. Until next time, it's the Profit Express.